Good morning. My name is Sandrell, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the CA Plex CA2E Global User Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn the conference over to Mr. Bill Hunt. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and welcome to the members of the Plex CA community who are here with us today. I'm Bill Hunt. I'm the product manager for CA Plex and CA2E, if you've never met me before. And, first of all, of course, as is the case every month, I want to thank everybody for spending some time with us today. This is kind of depending on the depending on where you're joining us from in the world, this can either be kind of a lunch and learn session or a breakfast and learn session, if there's such a thing. But anyway, thank you all for your time. And this month, what we're going to feature is a presentation from my longtime colleague, Niels Peter Sorensen from Websidian in Denmark. Websidian, of course, is a longtime partner for the Plex product, very well known in the community and highly regarded, highly respected. Niels is going to be doing a presentation and a discussion, a technical presentation about rich internet applications and the capabilities you have to build those in their Websidian Express tool. I've seen this presentation or a variation thereof a few months back at a user conference in Sweden, and like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with this. So anyway, thank you all for spending time with us today, and without further ado, again, I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Niels Peter Sorensen. Niels, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, let's do that. Hopefully everybody can hear me right now. I'm going to just switch back over to my desktop so everybody can see the presentation here and all the demos that I got here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, as mentioned by Bill, this is a presentation that we did for the distributors in Sweden some time back, and we've also shown stuff like this in various conferences that we did. But it was all about what is actually going to happen with the next steps of Websidian and Websidian Express, the next major releases, what we're really working on, especially the area of what we call RIA or rich internet applications. So just going to have a little introduction here and go into RIA. That is really the big thing that we're going to do with Websidian and the Websidian Express runtime environment that we have. And we have a little short introduction to RIA, just some of the main things about RIA and why we should do that and what are the obstacles, and then go into what about RIA and Websidian, how do they really match inside Websidian patterns and the Websidian Express environment. And then a quick look at what are we really going to come up with in the next major version regarding these RIA options that we're going to introduce to you. So looking at RIA, it has been around for years actually, but it has been maturing a bit, and especially during the Web 2.0 hype that we had over the last couple of years, it has really evolved. And simply put, it's about bringing your desktop application to your browser. So your browser applications looks very much like what you can do in GUI, and compared to a Plex GUI, it will probably look a lot better inside those browsers. And it actually, the idea is that you get the same look and feel as you have in your normal GUI just inside your browser. I've just brought a little example that I tend to use just to show you some of that in real life. This is actually, I'm running inside a browser here, and just going to switch up here so you can see that it's really a browser. What I got here is an example of using one of the JavaScript libraries that we're going to introduce to you as well just in a second, called EXTJS, and they did this little demo on doing a desktop application. So you'll get the same look and feel as you have in a normal Windows environment, whether you like that or not. But that's some of those main things that we can do. We can have grids, and we have multiple windows popping up and stuff like that. And currently we are working on moving the Web CDN Express administration interface into a setup like this. But this is just one of those cool things that we will be able to do using these RIA components from EXTJS. I'm going to get back to that just shortly. So if I go further into what are the advantages of RIA, and I would definitely say that it's about providing a GUI-like application on the web. And it also provides you with better user experience. And then if you're currently not using Web CDN web development, you will also have the advantages that you see in the button moving your GUI applications into the web, because you will have the majority of these advantages based on just the mere moving into another technology. So you will be able to access your application from anywhere. But I think that everybody here is more or less using Web CDN, so you know the benefits of moving your applications to the web. Just to go back and give you another demo on that part on better user experience, I found this little one. I'm not sure how that pops up, but the idea is that when I do sorting in this nice little grid, the mobile phones will just float around. The funny thing about this is when seen from a Web CDN point of view, you can actually see this as you're actually just creating a grid, and with that grid you have some information in it, and you provide a little image in as one of those information, give this to the JavaScript environment that we're using, and it will just provide that for you. So out of the box you will be able to do stuff like this. I'm not saying that this is going to be inside the product, but we will very easily do a little white paper that can actually help you to do this. These are integrated components into the JavaScript library that we have decided to use. Well, RIA also brings some challenges, and there are the one that I found, and that is also the reason that we are here today and not 5 years ago. During the last 10 years that we have been doing Web CDN, we have been focusing on the back end stuff that we can do. That the fact that we in the beginning actually were able to move stuff from the Plex environment to the web, that was a big goal, and then we added security and we added all that. So right now the basics, the base product of Web CDN and Web CDN Express is really robust, and we're lacking that fronting, and that is what RIA will give us. But on the other hand, that also requires that a lot of JavaScript is going into the pages. So we have to have some way of fixing that, and we're looking at specifics, and can get into that why we're going to do that. And then at the same time, going RIA, you often end up having to discuss problems regarding different browsers. We have Opera, we have Chrome, we have Internet Explorer in a variety of versions and stuff like that. And every time we start opening up that JavaScript, it works in Chrome, but it does not work in Internet Explorer, and I really want to make sure that we do not end up with that challenge. And then there are some issues regarding security issues with the asynchronous request. You might have read in the news, in the technical newsletters and stuff like that, that doing Ajax-based or Web 2.0 applications, you will see that you will have to deal with security issues and stuff like that. But I think that we got that covered really good, because moving into how do we face these challenges with Web CDN applications? Well, for sure, I'm quite certain that what's the security model of signing stuff and making sure nobody can tamper with it and stuff like that, we are securing the events, then the security model is definitely up for the challenge. Then, as mentioned before, we have been focusing a lot on the Web CDN architecture over the last 10 years, and done a lot in that area. We can do Java, we can do Windows, and we can do IBM I. And the scalability and the architecture presented inside the Web CDN, well, is really up for the challenge, because what happens when doing RIA is that you tend to get a lot more requests into your application. So instead of just reloading one page, you will be reloading a lot of smaller components on the page on each request. Then that thing about that JavaScript library, or the fact that we have the problem with JavaScript, we have gone and say, okay, the maturity of all the JavaScript libraries that we have out there is today. We have the EXTJS. You probably also heard Dojo is also an option, and you have Prototype and stuff like that. The fact that we have these JavaScript libraries is also leveraging us up so we can actually go ahead and create applications like this without really having to go through the hassle of cross-browser problems, because we will outsource that to another company. So in this case, we have simply decided to go with the XTJS libraries. You can go have a look at those, the demos and what they do, but that is primarily what we're going to focus on. That's not to say that Dojo is bad or some of the others are. If you go into the XTJS, we found that the documentation was it was ready, it was well documented. There's not that many pitfalls. The good thing about XTJS compared to the others is that there are no more having to sit around trying to figure out a web design and saying, okay, I got a paragraph or I got a table or stuff like that. So I don't need to learn any HTML anymore. I'm more or less programming my pages instead. So I'm setting up a page. I'm going to say I've got a button here. I've got to program that. I'm like a new button, and